Cheers! Hi, my name is Danielle and thanks so much for being here. So 3 months ago today, I was officially out of a job. And as dynamic and complex of a situation as that was, ultimately it was for the best. And I say this partially because I was miserable. During this time, I have learned so much about myself and what I want out of life, and it has ultimately led me to decide that I want to open my own web design studio. Now, one thing I want to say off rip, okay? I recognize that I am very privileged right now because I live at home and no one depends or relies on me to be able to eat or survive. I also left my job with savings to be able to pay my bills. I do not take that for granted, and I don't want to just sit around and waste this opportunity to be able to go and actually pursue my dreams. So I wanted to make this video and this whole channel really for people who are going through career changes, or maybe you just need someone who's pursuing their goals alongside you, because there are so many people out here that are telling us how to do this, here's how to do that, but not a lot of people are doing it with you, so I want to be the person who's doing it with you. So just to give you a brief bit of context and just get you up to speed about how we even got here in the first place. About a year and a half ago, I graduated from college. I studied communication, art, and human resource management. So I did not learn to code while I was in school. It took me 8 months to find my job after I graduated from college, and I didn't even find it. My mom just so happened to stumble across a random opportunity on Facebook and knew the lady who was hiring, so that's how I got that job. And it was at a place where a lot of people had been trying to get into for a long time, so it was kind of seen as almost impressive that I was working there, and I had a lot of people around me being like, oh, it's gonna be amazing, it's gonna be great, yada yada yada, boom bop bow. Update, it wasn't amazing at all. Very quickly, about a week and a half in, it got to a point where I legitimately was having headaches every single day and body aches every day, and I never had headaches before really in my life. Like, obviously I've experienced some here and there, but never to this degree and constantly. And at a certain point, I was getting almost like hopeless, like maybe this is just what life is, like maybe I'm just gonna work here forever and that's gonna be it. And I consider myself to be an optimistic person, so I was literally becoming someone who I didn't recognize. Regardless, I did my best work while I was there. I had bosses on top of bosses emailing and saying that I'm doing an incredible job, and I put myself into this work, but I knew I needed some way to ease my mind, and that for me was having a new hobby on top of all the hobbies that I pretty much already have. So that is how I got into coding, and let me tell you, I instantly fell in love with coding. It was something that I wanted to learn for quite a while and never really dipped my toes into that much. But as soon as I started learning, it was simply uphill from there. I could not stop myself from getting on the keyboard and typing. And I started seeing coding as an opportunity for me to be able to help people build their dreams. And I saw how much creativity I was putting into it, and I got to use my degree, and it was all this amazing, incredible stuff just lining up for me. And that is how I was able to distract myself after work. I ended up loving coding so much that I graduated from one of those coding boot camps for full stack software development and started developing my first projects and really getting deep into what my niche is, or what I want my niche to be, which is working with growing and emerging businesses. On top of the fact that I was putting in so many applications ever since I lost my job, and they were either ghost jobs or I would get interviews and pretty much the job description was completely different from what the actual job was, or I got those messages about, unfortunately, we're moving on to a different candidate, which is like, all right, okay. So instead of playing small, not taking any risks or taking any chances, I'm going to take a risk and do this and start this web design agency and be a freelancer, regardless of the worries that I have about whether or not it will work. In full transparency, I've had 2 small businesses before, and I've done freelance work with my 3D animations, and I also see others doing it, which inspires me to do it even more because it's clearly possible. Now, I know that you're probably like, all right, Danielle, well, how are you going to do this? Did I ever say my name is Danielle in this video? Well, my name's Danielle, hi. So let me just tell you all of the things that I already have in line. My web design studio is called Peach Creative Studio. Peach is my mom's nickname for me, and Creative Studio because I don't want to just limit myself to web design, because in the future I may want to add branding and graphic design services, since those are things I have experience in as well. I already have an LLC. I've had an LLC for many years now, and I keep up with it regularly. One of the biggest things that I want to position myself with is that I both know how to code, I have an art background and a communication background, which means I will give you the full scope of a project. Not only that, but I really value your time, and as somebody who has owned businesses before, I want to make sure that I'm treating your business as I would treat my own. One of the most important things that I did for my business so far was sitting down and mapping out who my ideal clients are and how I want to show up for them. Because I know what the goals that I have are, and I kind of want to come out the gate swinging for those particular types of clients. On top of the fact that a lot of my design friends and people in the community who already have their own freelance businesses or own their own studios have given me a lot of great advice on this topic. I want to help people think about websites as online storefronts instead of just something that they have to get done for people to be able to visit and make their purchases and go. And I think about small businesses that go viral a lot, right? And maybe you have a website that is not translating into those sales when you go viral. Or you're just starting out and you want to make sure that all your ducks are in a row before you get to more heavy marketing, so that way when people get to your website, it converts. But anyway, I have those things combined with a really relentless belief in myself and an unwillingness to waver on any of my goals, which I think is a good start. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about, which is a huge thing that is important to me, is that I am a very private person. But I think it's important for me to come on and share my story and share how I'm growing, so that way people can see that it's possible. If me making these videos could even help one person, then I will continue making them. But even in my current life, the only people who really know that I'm doing this and I'm going for this is my mom, my boyfriend, and my close friend. And now you all, because we're friends now. Because the nerves about if anyone will listen or care or if it will help anybody, which is the most important thing to me, they're all there. All those feelings are there, but I don't want to let that drive how I'm running my business or how I'm making any decisions, because honestly, I have let stress and anxiety run my goals for too long. So I'm gonna be creating and building publicly through that discomfort. And I also think it's just as important to share the non-business part of life, because again, I'm trying to do this while also keeping my mental health and my physical health in check and enjoying life and being a whole person on the internet, you know? Because none of us just do one thing. Very long-winded, but whatever. Anyway, I hope you're doing well. Go drink some water and have a good meal, and bye.